All right, everybody, welcome to the final last news desk on the left for 2020. I am your host, MacPaladin, and my crew is here. Sound off, everyone, starting with Adam.
Hello.
Kevin Grusing, how y'all doing?
I'm Petty Fan. I keep make sure things don't break.
This is the Gulix, and I'm not looking forward to seeing how much snow there is tomorrow.
This is Final Winter, and I'm here.
All right, we got a full crew tonight. It is the week before Christmas. Well, sort of. Yeah. And
Yeah. As far as we're concerned.
it looks like, for those of us not in the cult of 45, there's going to be a pleasant holiday season this year. So let's get right into it, guys.
At time of recording?
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are 35 days away from the presidential changeover.
Mm-hmm.
You
know, we're finally rid of the tantrum in chief, hopefully.
Well, hopefully.
Well,
I mean, he's
going
to dance around, but we can.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to be in an actual position of power in a month's time. That's the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. And indeed, even while he's been doing his campaign, Biden has, not paid one real iota of attention to it. He's been busy, preparing to enter office in about a month. And along with that comes a number of cabinet picks already announced. Kevin, you probably know all of them. So,
where do you want to start?
Well, I suppose we should start with the big one that just got announced, because this one is causing a lot of, Pete Buttigieg has been selected to head up the Department of Transportation.
For context, the current Secretary of Transportation is Elaine Chao, wife of Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Drain the swamp.
And Buttigieg getting the job here is a continuation of what has happened in the previous Democratic administrations, where this position has typically gone to a mayor. And as we all like to call him, he is Mayor Pete. He was the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, which actually has a public transit system. So, yeah, he's very much qualified for this position, except in the minds of some people on Rose Twitter who believe that he's, not a progressive.
No, he's not a progressive. But
it's not a progressive because it was, as you recall, during the primary season, he and Amy Klobuchar famously had a big, long fight about who was the better centrist.
Yes.
And then Biden over there went, "Hi, how you doing?"
It's just, nobody actually listens to Rose Twitter.
No.
Because
I was actually
they are...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. But, Rose Twitter is a segment of Twitter. Who doesn't...
And as we all know, Joe Biden, from the moment he started his campaign, had one rule of thumb: avoid Twitter.
Basically.
Yeah,
they
actually said that we want to avoid Twitter.
Go ahead, Mac.
I just remember, and I think we talked about this on a previous show, that Obama had his 450-point agenda that he put out at the beginning of his presidency.
Vaguely.
It was one of the most sweepingly progressive presidential agendas in United States history.
Yeah.
And I'm literally listening to, reading internet fucktards say that under Obama, literally nothing happened for 8 years. And I'm like, huh? Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
well,
You
yeah, that's why.
revisionist. Well, yeah. It's like you revisionist history, neo-Luddite fucktards.
It's like, first of all, you had the Affordable Care Act, which was the biggest change to the healthcare industry in a century. And that was after, of course, the Recovery Act, which was absolutely vital and took up a good number of months because of the fact that, well, see, the previous Republican administration left us with a mess, just like what we have right now, situation that's going on right now, although a little bit more intense because of the man involved.
Right.
But you had the Recovery Act, you had the ACA, and then you had a thing called the DACA program, which, well, was very highly contested. And if nothing really happened in 8 years, why were the Republicans so deeply trying to get him out for firstly in 2012 and then eventually to put up the guy who literally questioned his legitimacy?
Among other things.
Among other things, but that was how he came to become a figure in a political sense in the first place, was to literally question the legitimacy of the President of the United States. If the Republicans were so, if nothing happened in 8 years, why were the Republicans so angry about him, other than obvious reasons, to literally put up the guy who questions his birthplace?
Yeah, a guy who's literally so far right that he makes the John Burke Society blush in shame.
They blush in shame. I mean, they're in the same ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
The same ball team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like,
speaking of ball teams, Major League Baseball recognized the
Negro Leagues.
The Negro Leagues for the first time in its history, thus officially making them more progressive than Donald Trump.
Although I would disagree with that, unfortunately, because that came out on the same day that a story came out that well, let's just say that they don't practice what they preach in terms of being progressive. Their management is still largely white. In the front office.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that if you want to split hairs about degrees, Major League Baseball is
true.
Officially now more progressive than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's not hard to be that, but I actually don't know if I would go literally that far because of some of the owners.
Sarcasm, Kevin.
Yeah, but still.
It's called sarcasm, Kevin.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anyway, back to the tablet picks.
Yeah, back to the tablet
let's
picks.
see.
So we had Buttigieg as at transportation.
Yeah. Apparently, we're down to the final two in terms of Attorney General. Looks like it's going to be either Doug Jones or Merrick Garland.
It better be Doug Jones because there's no way in hell that Merrick Garland's seat is going to be filled by anyone other than a Federal Society wingnut.
I'm like,
unless we win back the House, which again,
Senate.
don't bet.
Senate,
but
yeah.
Again, it's with Senate.
The House has nothing to do.
Right. Yeah, y'all know what I meant though. It's like unless we went back to Senate, which again, let me state for the record, don't put your money on it.
I'm not putting money on it. Other people are.
Yeah, other people are. That's why I'm saying it. It's like we just turned blue. It's going to be a very heavy lift. It's a lot of things have to go our way. Chances are it could even potentially be a heartbreaker for you, and that it might be a split with Warnock and Perdue. And if that's the case, well, you're just going to have to suck it up and deal because we just turned blue. We're too newly into this blue Georgia thing to hand deliver to you to Democratic senators. We're going to try our damnedest here. We're going to do our best. But if we fall short, hey, we just turned blue for the first time in since 1992. So it's like, we'll do our best, but Anyway, but
Right.
back to AG, again, because of that fact, hopefully because of the fact that apparently the working assumption in the Biden camp is that we're not going to get the job done down here. Hopefully that makes him lean towards Doug Jones,
I mean,
because that way we won't have to
yeah.
worry about an open seat on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals.
yeah, and Doug Jones is going to be no longer a senator in January, so
Right,
he's free.
Right, and he also is not someone who anybody really hates.
Um,
They
because
wanted to fight him, but
I mean,
Well,
Alabama
well-
is just Alabama. So I mean,
Yeah.
that was a contentious
Right.
race to get him in there in the first place, and
yeah,
which is really, I mean, that's really the most damning thing about that whole state. You know, a place that I called home for like 20 minutes.
I mean, did you see when they did the electoral college vote, they had cameras in every single one of them, including Alabama. Did you see that Uncle Sam cosplayer?
oh dear God.
Yeah, there was one apparent. I guess one either somebody who was speaking or one of the electors or whatever was dressed up like Uncle Sam. And I'm like, yep, that's the state that dumped out Doug Jones for a lunatic.
I mean, the guy is literally a cartoon character, Tommy
Yeah.
Tuberville.
Yeah. I mean, a
And-
guy
and what
who-
And aside from opposing Trump, what did Doug Jones do that was so heinous that the people of Alabama had to say, you know what? I think what we should have done was we should have put Roy Moore in there in the first place.
No, I think
So-
it was more to the point where, they actually do have a line, although they only crossed it just barely, and well, that line wasn't there anymore, so they could easily say goodbye, Doug Jones, and it helped for the fact that he wasn't really a conservative.
But
Well,
what I'm saying is that the guy that they put in there is basically Roy Moore light.
Yeah, well, he's a Republican, so
Yeah, but apparently that wasn't good enough to get Roy Moore into those spots.
oh, well, there was a little bit of the whole pedophilia thing with Roy Moore, so
Yeah, and then doubling down on it.
yeah, I mean, there was just that bit of a line, that little line. It's not, it's a big line, but it's a small line at the same time, and Roy Moore crossed it. But Tommy Tuberville isn't a pedophile, so there you have it.
yeah. And anyway, let's see.
Attorney General, those are those final two.
For the Department of the Interior, I think they're close to what's her name?
It looks like it's going to be Representative Deb Haaland of New Mexico. She would be the first Native American to serve, I think, on the cabinet, but especially at Interior. That is the leader of the clubhouse. I mean,
Clubhouse?
this could be the likely one. There could be other names involved. This could be one of those. This could be just like what was that position? Energy, where we all thought it was going to be Ernest Moniz, the a previous Secretary of Energy, but then it turned out to be Jennifer Granholm. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
So
there's been a lot of person X going to position Z instead of position Y.
Yeah.
Like the big one I think was Fudge.
Fudge and HUD, yeah. She wanted the agriculture job, but that went to previous Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack. I mean, sure. I mean, nobody was upset about it at the very least. Well, in terms of them.
It was, not gonna lie, this one was a bit cringy because Fudge said that
She openly said she wanted that job, and she didn't get it. She got it instead.
it's also she defined the traditional cabinet jobs as like the HUD. Oops.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a ooh, but I guess she's fine enough with it to go.
I mean, she didn't turn it down. She
Yeah.
could have turned it down. I mean, other people have apparently Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms was offered a job and she turned it down. So it's not
Mhm.
like she couldn't have turned it down. She could have easily turned it down because she wanted to ensure that another House seat didn't go away or be
Right.
put up for bid. So
Right.
like she could have easily turned it down.
Probably the biggest government plucking, so to speak, so far is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, which
Yeah.
is going to be Xavier
Xavier.
who's the Attorney General of California.
Right. So
And
Gavin
okay,
Newsom- so
why people are wondering why Xavier has been picked for this, it's because he's been leading the charge against the ACA lawsuit that's been working its way in the courts.
yeah, he's been a very much a defender of the ACA. Healthcare has always been a part of his position, and he also was once upon a time a congressperson. So and I think a pretty high level one too. So I mean, it's not like he's not getting this. I mean, there are legitimate reasons why he got that position.
Right. Also, thankfully, what was it, Raheem Emanuel or
Rahm Emanuel.
Emmanuel, yeah.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, the former mayor of Chicago who was complicit in a cover-up
Of a
with
murder,
the
yeah.
CPD. I know, like a lot of people were losing their shit that his name was circulating. Here's the thing: like sometimes names in the press are circulated by the person that's in the story.
Or
That
their
was
buddies. Or their
yeah.
buddies.
Yeah. Well, it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Really,
I think in this case it was a mixture of both.
yeah.
I think it was
But-
Rom's buddies trying to lobby himself to the press and as a trial balloon.
But no, the NAACP put their foot down on that. I think
It's
the CBC
like, no. At best, Rom's probably the best thing that Rom could probably get at this point is ambassador to Israel, and that's it.
There's also some consternation over the pick for the Secretary of Defense.
That'd be General Lloyd Austin.
Yeah.
If you recall, there is in case you don't know, it is the law that you need a waiver if you wish to take the department, the Secretary of Defense position, or any position in the Department of Defense, unless you've been out of the service for 7 years.
Honestly, that's a good policy to have, and it probably would be better if he picked someone else, but the guy seems okay for the job if they do decide to do the waiver.
Yeah,
It's also,
I think 7 years. I think honestly, at this point, 7 years is probably a little too long. It should be probably more like 5. But yeah, I think. Look, if we all gave General Mattis the waiver, you give General Austin the waiver because there's no red flags with him, just like there was really no red flag with Mattis either. So it's like, if you
Other than
decide
his
to
nickname.
deny him the waiver, well, other than his nickname, I actually like the nickname and call him Jimmy Mad Dog, but yeah, but it's like if you gave Mattis the waiver, you give Austin the waiver, or else you're going to say to people, I was okay with the white ex-general getting the waiver, not cool with the black ex-general getting the waiver.
well, I mean,
That is how it's going to be perceived.
yeah, the Congressional Black Caucus has come down
Yes.
on this. They say
Clyburn is 100% on the General Austin train. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of that discussion.
yes. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, if it goes against him, it's not going to be pretty because chances are he will probably get the waiver anyway because of Republicans.
Right.
Because the Republicans do not want to go out there and deny a black man in the military a position.
Right.
Because black males are actually are open to Republicans, so I don't think they want to piss them off. Also, I think they don't want to piss off somebody who, is well liked in the military. Actually, if you look at it, so.
Yeah, I'll note that progressives are against this pick because he's on the board of Raytheon, I think.
Raytheon, yeah. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I'm just noting it.
I mean, that is kind of
you mean Raytheon?
Yes, Raytheon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That is
it is.
kind of a ideally you wouldn't do that, but
Hint.
unfortunately, based on the circumstances, it's still probably better to let him in than to try to keep him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we've had civilian people who've been on boards of defense contractors before.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think once it got to the point where Biden nominated him, that letting it through is probably the best idea. Really, the problem is that Biden chose to nominate someone who requires the waiver, because setting the precedent for the waiver being used is probably not a good thing.
By the way, breaking news just came in. Trump's Interior Secretary just tested positive for COVID.
Or I should say, continue. Like, once is an exception, twice starts being a pattern for the.
Well, I
waiver.
think the way that you do this is that you accept this one, but you also say specifically, this is it. We're not doing it again. Period. Because it's like, again, you can't give it to Manus and not give it to Austin without it looking like a very big being very bigly
Right.
hypocritical to the black community.
Let's see. I think the Secretary of State's been picked as well.
Has he?
Like-
Has it? I don't think he's picked the Secretary of State yet. I don't think, unless I missed it.
Oh, yeah. I might be thinking of another position. Like,
I mean, Treasury Secretary has been picked. That's Janet Yellen, former leader of the Fed. We've gotten the secretary. We've gotten HHS with Xavier Becerra. Transportation with Buttigieg.
Let me. Yeah, I know there's also some dispiriting rumors surrounding the potential pick of the Secretary of Commerce. Apparently, Biden is maybe considering a Republican for the position.
I mean, he's going to probably have to pick one for one position, and it might as well be commerce than anything else.
I mean, if it were me, if I were me in this position, I would probably be looking specifically for Republicans who are senators in states with a Democratic anything else.
Or
right,
governors or whatever. But yeah,
if
we're gonna do this, it might as well be here in commerce, because look, I think that Biden's probably going to be tempted to do it because, well, this is going to be probably a transactional presidency regardless of what happens down here. So if you're gonna have a Republican in the cabinet, it might as well be at commerce.
And let me see. I think that might be about it as known cabinet picks. Like,
yeah, I think, yeah.
I mean, most
the gamut.
Most cabinet picks don't have a whole ton of like statutory power, do they?
Well, they're the head of every department, so they have a lot of sway among those departments.
Yes, they do.
They basically set the regulations for those departments as far as
They're still supposed to do what the president says, though.
Well, I mean, but that's the point of having a cabinet, is so that way. Hold on a second. That's the point of having a cabinet, is so that way the president can delegate that responsibility. Man is not a monolith, as they say. So,
right. Yeah. Basically, the president sets the agenda, and it's up to the cabinet's secretaries to pretty much interpret said base set base across their department. So it's like,
because I mean it's. Because it's like
screw climate change, areas involving climate, like energy and whatnot. Anti-climate change priorities. So it's like basically, president sets the agenda. Cabinet secretaries basically put that agenda, interpret it for each individual department, or even more if it involves a certain specific department.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like if we look at the current administration, for example, a lot of people were like, well, let's look at Betsy DeVos for a second there, and it's like,
yeah, I mean, that you don't need to say anything more. Just say their name.
yeah, the only thing I was gonna say about that was that it's less that she was following Trump's marching orders, and it was more that her personal agenda aligned with his.
Correct.
True. Although we are currently featuring with a chief executive that has a unprecedented lack of interest in actual policy. So
Right, but he still has at least some ideas.
All of them bad.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
All of them bad, none of them good.
Yeah.
But he was chosen by God. I mean, the election proved that, right?
Yeah. Also worth noting, do not expect, say, Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren to be picked for anything. Like,
Mm-mm.
for
I know
starters,
that
they
is,
are senators.
and it has nothing. It's got nothing less to do with them being progressive and more to do with the fact that that we can't really afford to pick a senator.
Because trust me, if we
from
have,
especially not from those two states, because don't they have like Republican legislatures right now?
or they
Republican
have
Yes.
Republican governors, more to the point.
who will
Yeah.
appoint a Republican to those spots and
Right.
thus expand the
In
Republican lead.
Massachusetts, they have a Democratic legislature, but it's better not to test that because
Right.
the Republican governor there is actually kind of pretty popular, and I don't think he wants that to be threatened by having to put in a Republican in Elizabeth Warren's seat.
Yeah, Massachusetts is a pretty liberal state overall, I guess, or certainly Democratic on the presidential level pretty reliably, but they do have this thing where they elect Republican governors for some reason.
Yeah, I was about to say Mitt Romney. Anyone?
Yeah.
The former governor of Massachusetts, current senator for
Charlie Baker.
Utah.
And
Current
Charlie
owner of
Baker's
Binders Full of Women.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Charlie Baker is actually governing like Mitt Romney did when he was governor. Of course, that was a completely different Mitt Romney than the one we've dealt with since like 2008.
Speaking of transactional administration. Yes.
Yeah, so but yeah, like again, everybody I keep saying that this is going to be a transactional presidency because even in a 50-50 situation, the Republicans are still going to have a very loud say because that filibuster ain't going nowhere. So,
because we done fucked up.
Well, people in certain states did.
I tried.
Well, Missouri wasn't in play, really.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone expects Florida to fuck up, so it's not news anymore.
Yeah, well, we all still got bit again. We all, well, most of us anyway, but it's like a lot of us fell for the polling that suggested that, hey, maybe Florida's open again. No, not even close. But, I mean, it's like, this is going to be a presidency. That's why you really don't have a lot of, wild, star high wattage names really in these cabinet picks, but they're still good.
Well,
and it's still a cabinet where you can not have to worry about there being any corruption or any insidious nonsense.
I'm like, I don't think anyone's looking for high wattage nominees.
Well, no,
I think
but
the nicest thing about Biden's nominees is that most of them aren't famous from some shifty operation somewhere and or related to him.
No. No.
Yeah. I'm like, they are normal picks for the most part. Like,
yeah.
And people are welcoming that because,
well,
we don't, we don't have to think about Biden that kind of capacity.
Yep.
Like, and we'll probably have more on Biden's picks when we come back in January because, well, more of them will be announced.
Yeah, well,
but
pretty much have
this is just this is just to underscore that as far as Biden's concerned, the whole voter fraud hokum was exactly that, and he hasn't been, he's been busy preparing power because that is still
His
what's going to happen.
Yes. Yep. Of course,
No,
don't tell the man who's currently 1600 pen that, although he's probably probably worried about the fact that his Interior Secretary got COVID today. Like I just said, they had a cabinet meeting today, by the way, and I guess he was there. So funny that. But also, Pompeo apparently was around somebody with COVID, so he wasn't there today. Nobody from the Justice Department was there, even though Bill Barr is technically still there until December 23rd, because he's decided that he can't clean up Trump's mess for him, so it's like, why bother being there? Although there's a story that suggests that, I kissed your ass. Why haven't you paid me back? Yeah, I don't buy that for a minute. So nobody from Justice was at this cabinet meeting today, and nobody from the Defense Department was there, even though there's, somebody supposed to be there, and, there should be someone from Defense there because, the Russians hacked us. So, which is fun.
Yeah. Various social media outlets, most notably YouTube, being shut down for about an hour or so because of Trump decapitating Caesar.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
they warned him back in June that this was going to be a problem.
Yeah, but Caesar said that there was no electoral fraud, and that went against him. So out you go.
Right. Right now, out you go.
Out you go,
you gotta say it with a British accent.
Right. Well, meanwhile, the Russians over in Moscow decided to go, hey, let's have some fun. Go ahead and get this done.
A comrade.
Yes.
A comrade? What are we, Russian through Canada now?
Maybe.
Hey, comrade, what's this about? I'm going to get hate for that.
Yeah.
We all are.
Up the Yukon.
Up the Yukon.
Yeah, up the Yukon,
I mean, the Yukon is about as close as you get to Russia in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, probably in a
geographically accurate.
Yeah, geographically accurate, right? Probably in a nice little cabin, where no intelligence operatives can find him. So.
Well, I mean, you can see Russia from Wasilla.
Anyway.
Sometimes I wonder if we should just give Alaska to Canada, but they won't take it. So
no. Anyway. So where do you want to go to next?
Oh, well, I shall tell you a tale.
Oh, here we go.
A tale of porn, because Pornhub's been having a bad week. You may have noticed if you've used the site in the last couple of days, because most of the
of your favorite videos are missing.
I'm like, I will neither confirm nor deny that.
I had to say that. I had to say that quickly. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right.
You may think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.
I didn't mean you literally, but if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck.
No.
You may think that, I couldn't possibly comment.
Anyway, but yeah, it's like, so if you've missed what's been going on in the background, and it seems like a lot of people have, okay, so this is some heavy shit, not gonna lie, because Pornhub's had a reputation for a while of, being a seedy place, and not just in the, typical porn ways.
There is the darkest kind of stuff that you would find in a red light district involved here.
Yeah, so the New York Times, about a week ago, published an expose called something like the children of Pornhub. I'm like, and we're not talking about people who were born from fucking. No, that would be maybe a bit odd, but that would be fine. No, we are talking about child exploitation. We're talking about pornography. We are talking about revenge porn, and we are talking about non-consensual porn. Those are the four corners that got exposed to the mainstream. And
well, let's
Yeah.
just say that when the mainstream gets involved into something like this, that brings in the people who may not be technologically logical, and will then pressure hard to do things that would be lead to the end of a pornographic piston.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is Visa and MasterCard have stopped doing business with both Pornhub and its parent company MindGeek. And in response, Pornhub has gotten rid of all of the unverified material. Like all unverified accounts are on lockdown currently. How long that's going to be, don't know. There's a lot of unknowns here, but it's also worth noting that Visa and MasterCard are continuing to not wanting to work with MindGeek anymore. And here's where things get and where things get more complicated is Vice put out an article a couple of days ago about how sex workers and legitimate porn artists and all that, well, they're getting, for lack of a better term, screwed over by this decision from Visa and MasterCard. Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Since 2003.
I'm like,
it's what we like to call collateral damage.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's a nonstop scenario. I mean, those of you who know my alter ego, Maze Palladino, you know damn well that I've been fighting this uphill battle against Visa and MasterCard since Bush basically amended USC 2255 Section 18.
Yeah, and people have been chiding these people for using this hive of scum and villainy, but that kind of gets into why they were using Pornhub in the first place, because they were one of the few porn sites that Visa and MasterCard would do business with.
Yeah,
that's kind of the biggest problem.
I'm gonna course correct you slightly on that. They'll do business again as a business person who makes adult comics for a living. They'll do business with virtually anyone, provided that you meet their rigorous and extremely restrictive guidelines. Like weird stuff, like you can't have illustrations of non-human characters. So my Genie comic is totally out.
Mm-hmm.
If it has dwarves and elves and centaurs in it, too freaky for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
what
the
if they're
big
considered
change comes
human in that world?
Well,
they're half beast, so
right. So
no, they're not. They're elves and dwarves.
The big change here is that they've now finally started targeting something that they were, shall we say, somewhat blasé on before.
They were more like what is oblivious the right term to use, or
yeah,
more like more like not caring. So
yeah, I mean this is something I've been dealing with for almost 17 years now. So
yeah, and the sex worker advocates have come down against this move because, well, this is harming sex workers. But here's the problem. It's not that child porn has been used as an abstract or an excuse to hit the cudgel over Pornhub. No, they were complicit in this stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's not just
sit there and not do anything when they easily could have
stuff
for the New York Times caught the window.
This came today. 40 girls do porn victims sue Pornhub for hosting sex trafficking videos.
Yeah.
This was the really infamous group on Pornhub. This some of their their commentary got the ball rolling against Pornhub. And under, I think it's FOSTA, SESTA, I think those apparently.
Yeah, I forget the acronym, but yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Apparently, under those set of laws, porn sites are exempt from Section 203. So they may actually be liable for this.
Yep.
Is it Section 203 or Section 230?
I think Section 2 is it whatever the section that Trump is railing on.
Sure. It's 230.
Section 230.
Yeah.
1996
Section 230.
Decency Act.
Yes. So this is the law segment that protects video hosting sites from the stuff that they have.
I mean,
in most cases.
And yet, really, the thing about all of the things that we've seen involving this, because this is the first time we've had a situation like this. It's like, for the most part, it's mostly because these sites just decide they don't want to touch the darker side of their sites. They didn't even want to mess with it. They didn't want to take it down. They didn't want to, get rid of it when it could have, helped them.
Yes.
Avoid
the Reddits and the 4chans of the world, yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm talking about the child exploitation, the trafficking, all this type of stuff. Those parts of these sites, they don't want to touch, they don't want to mess with, they didn't want to take down. And when it gets to the point where you let that thing sit, you let that thing settle, and the damage is done, and eventually that damage gets the mainstream press catches wind of it, and they post stories on it, and everybody knows about it. You get people who take damaging, destructive moves rather than something that you could have done to stop it to avoid such damage.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about, because Reddit and 4chan and sites like that actually kind of self-destructed first. And then these other sites were like, oh, well, we're better than that, because we're much cleaner and we're more transparent. And, this other stuff, don't pay no attention to this area that doesn't have light.
Right. It's like, don't bother with this. Don't pay attention to this. We don't care about it. Oh, wait, there's actual bad stuff going on here? No, it won't mess with it. It won't affect us.
I mean,
everything the light touches is our kingdom. But what about that shadowy place over there?
Well, they do say that sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, but
I mean, look.
But it shouldn't have had to come to this.
It shouldn't. No, that's what I'm getting at. It's like you could
profits over decency is what motivated this. And
but the thing about it is that if you get rid of this, it probably wouldn't have affected your profits whatsoever. Because it's not like this is the majority of what's on these sites.
I'm sorry to say that that's a very rose-colored view of the internet, unfortunately.
Look, I'm not.
Yes.
I'm saying this particular area, not the overall. I know porn is proliferate.
No. I'm saying you're giving the internet in general and these sites in particular too much credit for being decent.
On that,
I mean,
on that note, I do want to delineate something. The fall of Pornhub would be one thing. The fall of MindGeek would be another. Because, so you might not know this either, but all of the tube sites are pretty much owned by MindGeek.
Except for you.
YouPorn?
YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the porn tube sites.
Like RedTube and other things like that.
I know it's just you said all of the tube sites, so I was just clarifying.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. We should
fair enough.
There are tube sites that aren't necessarily porn, and then you have hybrid sites like Dailymotion.
Right.
That's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Right, and then you've got the garbage that is BitChute.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the fucking far right conspiracy tube.
Right, but
Dear God.
Yeah.
God, there's something bigger than YouTube for them?
Why,
Jesus.
why did you have to remind me that there was another place?
Yeah.
yeah,
Remind me never to let my father know that exists.
Yeah, we should not
Yeah.
be putting stuff like that on the air.
Like I have successfully avoided Parlor until now.
Like,
So
Well,
now
it's
you've given-
probably a good idea to continue doing that since apparently they require your fucking social security number to get to make a fucking account.
Okay, that's a whole other conversation. We'll save that for the new year.
Yeah, let's
Because
Anyway,
I want to
yeah.
finish. I want to finish this because I do need to talk about my Twitch channel before we go off. But anyway,
yeah, back
yeah,
to
we'll wrap up here, but you know,
yeah. So let's. But yeah,
it's like I'm not sympathetic to porn too, because you know I understand why people used it, especially you know they may have no other options, but this is you know you play with fucking child porn and
Yeah.
you're gonna get fucking busted eventually.
yeah,
because-
if you screw around with this on the darkest of the dark side, and you don't do anything, and you know it just allows to fester. Eventually, it'll bounce back and hurt you, and probably kill you.
Yeah. So, you know, and Pornhub knew that this shit was going on. They were told, and they did nothing. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you know, now you've got to you potentially suffer the death of 1,000 cuts, or maybe one or two really big ones.
Yeah.
So,
'tis better to suffer 1,000 what is it? 1,000 slashes to the branches than one carving at the root.
yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah. Anyway, Mac, time to. I suppose it's time to promote your Twitch stuff.
Yeah, just before we sign off for the year, I thought I'd let everybody know that I am rampaging through getting to partner status on Twitch for myself. After 2 years of promising, MacPaladin's Retro Gaming Emporium is finally alive on Twitch. And I've done the whole 9 yards. I've signed up for Prime Gaming. I downloaded all the free SNK stuff. I got my Battlefield 3 codes and as much loot box stuff as I can get, because I'm going to pack this thing full of content for the next 52 weeks without a break. And it's pretty important because I'm actually trying to do daily streaming until I get partner status, and then I'll try to back off a little bit, which is kind of interesting because I really need to be busting ass, you know, driving for rideshare services and doing deliveries and stuff like that to actually pay my bills. But if the pandemic has taught me anything, it's that I need to actually create more reliable / stable streams of income. And so if I have to finally prove my mom wrong and show her that I can make money playing video games for a living, then that's damn well what I'm going to do. And I've got a pretty good start for a channel that has started in earnest literally 6 days ago. I started streaming last week, and we currently have 594 followers, but that meteoric rise hasn't really helped us with views and chatting. So
Really
if we could get some help there.
Phrase, meteoric rise.
Yeah.
Not your fault, just
I mean, it is actually a thing.
I know it's a common phrase. It's just whoever the fuck made it up. Presumably every time they watched a meteor shower, they were standing on their goddamn head.
Okay. Literal
They
humor
don't
is literal.
usually go up.
Literal humor is literal. It's meant to be like a shooting star across the sky. I don't have time to quote Queen right now. But yeah, the Retro Gaming Emporium has started in earnest. I played a couple of rounds of Super Mario World. I blew through World 1 and failed at World 2. And I did an hour of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And basically the way we're rolling this is on Monday through Thursday, I will do what's called casual gaming weekdays, which is kind of a misnomer because, hardcore fighting games from back in the day is not necessarily considered casual. But the reason I call it casual is because I'm not necessarily playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's purely for nostalgia. It's a conversation piece. It's me sharing some gaming history and just talking about my experiences as a lifelong gamer. I'm 43, almost 44 years old, and I have literally been playing video games since 1980.
Mm-hmm.
My dad brought an Atari 2600 home in 1980, and we played Pac-Man and Missile Command and all that stuff together until the wee hours of the morning. And, in 1986, I got my Nintendo Entertainment System. In 1991, I got my Super NES. Actually, that was the first system that I was a rather early adopter on. God, how long did I have only Super Mario World to play on it? So for funsies, I'm playing Neo Geo games on weekdays, and I've got a ton of them that I got courtesy of my Prime account and all that good stuff. So last night I played Polestar. The night before that I played Last Blade 2, and tonight it's a toss-up. I'm deciding if I want to go with a fighting game like Samurai Showdown 2, or if I want to do something. I want to change it up a little bit and do King of the Monsters. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
King of the Monsters, is that a Godzilla game or?
Yep. It's kind of like a cross. Yeah, it's kind of like a cross between a fighting game and Rampage.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
There's like 3 of them, I think.
Which system is this? Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
In this
Neo Geo.
Neo Geo. Well, anyway, while you guys are thinking about that, I will give a little more information. But anyway, Monday through Thursday, we're going to be doing casual gaming.
Yeah, that fucking weird one.
Okay.
I saw this in Nintendo Power back in the day.
Okay.
And it made an impression on me.
Anyway, as for Friday.
Yeah, now as for Friday, I will be continuing to run the moderation portion of the stream from Varias's playthrough of Arkham Knight on YouTube. And then on Saturday, we have been doing a offline version of APB Reloaded, recording the gameplay and then editing the 2 streams together into a sort of wide angle split screen. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to start playing Battlefield 3 Standard Edition. I'm a little better at FPSs than third person. And so since I got a code for it through my sign up, we're going to start playing Battlefield 3. We're going to do a little FPS. We're going to do FPS Saturdays. And we're going to live stream my side of it with both of our commentary. And then the YouTube version will be the combined video of both of us working together, just like we do on APB. So for YouTube, which will show up a couple days later, hopefully. We got a little behind this week. Stuff's been going on, pretty much everybody's story right now. And so that will be Saturday. And then Sunday, I will resume my playthrough of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on Sunday evening around 6 o'clock. And then at 8 or 9 o'clock, I will resume my playthrough of Blade and Soul, the NCSoft MMO. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of me gaming, streaming, and I'm pretty excited about that. And since I didn't plan this commentary very well, it sounds like I'm struggling a little bit because I'm speaking extemporaneously instead of off a script. But yeah, so the Twitch channel to watch out for is, of course, Twitch TV /MacPaladin. And I do have a link to Fragments of Silicon at the bottom, so we'll get a little cross-promotion going there. Hopefully the abrupt large quantity of followers that I got will spill over and help out both shows. And yeah, I hope everybody will tune in and check it out, and we'll see if we get some views.
Yeah. You might be getting
All
one from me.
What's that now?
I said you might be
Anything
getting one from me.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Like I said, we're trying to do everything. I've got 1 out of 4 criteria for getting partner status, and obviously the follower count is huge. Now we just need to get 5 simultaneous commentators during a stream. Like I said, right after the show here, I will be doing a live stream, and I'm thinking I'm going to go King of Monsters.
King of the Monsters is good.
Yep. Normally that will be at 10 p.m. On weekdays. But obviously when we're doing Last News Desk, it may get bumped a little.
Right. It's kind of hard to do this and the game stream at once, and ill-advised.
Well, I mean, that, and of course not being able to switch over immediately. I mean, I have to set up my camera and all that stuff, because I do actually appear on camera. Like, I have an avatar. I have an avatar. I actually appear live on camera.
So you mean you haven't gone full VTuber yet?
I do what?
VTuber?
VTuber? Oh yeah, that's a thing. I can't afford to get somebody to build the model just yet, and Varias is a tad busy making Starship Moonhawk, so there's that. Which, by the way, later on I will be posting a massive tech demo using a very important piece of Starship Moonhawk music. But it will be a 6.5 minute long video of the Moonhawk doing various things, as well as our new model of the Starship Achilles. So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be debuting tonight. I just need to actually do it.
I suppose we should wrap up then.
Yeah. So I'll look forward to seeing everybody on the stream if possible, and yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a great show this week, guys, and I really appreciate you coming out here and chatting with me, as always. And, of course, to the listeners out there, we appreciate you very much, and we hope you'll join us again in the new year. Adam, what would you guesstimate would be our return date?
Our return date, as in last news desk? I can... I can... Yes. I mean, my show will be returning the Sunday beforehand, since that's our review day. But yeah, January 6th will be our grand return, and the start of Fragments of Silicon season 14.
January 6th, 2021.
Yep. Yeah, and I've updated all of our payment information too, because there was some issues with my old bank account. Yeah, I fixed it already, so we're good to go. But yeah, with that in mind, I wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season and a happy new year, and we will see you in our continuation of season 1 of the Last News Desk on the Left on January 6th. Until then, I'm MacPaladin on behalf of the crew at Last News Desk on the Left. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.